Mr. Mohammed Osman, for sharing that insight. Please stay with us as we stay on this topic. Now, moving on, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy and his wife Olena Zelenska have arrived in Dublin for a one-day state visit, the first by Ukrainian President and First Lady to visit Ireland. They were welcomed at the presidential residence Aras on Uachtaráin by Irish President Kathleen Connolly. During the visit, Zelenskyy was briefed on peace talks with Russia following recent meetings between Ukrainian and US negotiations in Florida. The Irish government is expected to approve an extra $137 million in aid for Ukraine, including $110 million in non-lethal military support and $27 million for urgent energy needs. Zelenskyy will address both houses of the Irish Parliament and attend the Ireland-Ukraine Economic Forum, highlighting the strong ties and ongoing support between these two countries. Now for this discussion, we welcome back Mr. Mohammed Osman. Thank you very much, Mr. Mohammed Osman, for staying with us. Now, looking at this, what does the timing and significance of this first-time visit by Ukrainian President suggests amid ongoing war and ongoing mediation efforts?
As I said, Asuma,
Yes.
President Zelenskyy is desperate for garnering support from his allies, and therefore he went on his second European tour or European trip in 2 weeks. He met with President Macron about a few weeks back, and then he went to Paris once again and met with Macron yesterday. And then he went ahead also and headed to Dublin, Ireland, in order to strengthen EU support for Ukraine at this point. However, I see this move of desperation. It will not yield much because Europe does not really have much more to offer at this point. Assume Europe now feels threatened. Europe's military industrial output is unable to put up with the military industrial output of Russia. They cannot supply Ukraine with the necessary weapons so that they would maintain the front line and prevent Russian advances, especially in the absence or the near absence of more US weapons shipments. Now the new US weapons shipment have to be bought by Europe from the United States and transferred to Ukraine. So this adds more of a financial burden on Europe, and the biggest European economies like Germany and France and Italy, these economies are struggling at the moment and are approaching what some economists might argue recession or a near recession crisis. So they are in no shape or form able to bankroll Ukraine much longer on their own without US support. And the same applies to Ireland, of course, which is a small country, not really a great, gigantic economy in the European Union, not really that much of an influential actor in the European Union, which shows the extent of the desperation of President Zelenskyy at this point. The French, on the other hand, and the Germans, they are now, and especially Germany, is focused on increasing their own military spending to increase their own military capabilities because they believe they might be on the receiving end of a Russian war of aggression somewhere near 2029 or 2030. I believe, of course, that is a sheer exaggeration. I do not believe that Russia would ever attack the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. However, it does seem that Europe now does believe, or the European governments do believe, that they might be directly threatened with Russian aggression, especially that Russia has escalated lately with the deployment of drones to violate the airspace of several European countries. Russia denied that. However, most of the evidence points to Russia that they are carrying out these provocations to test the limits and also the air defense capabilities of the Europeans. Yes. So all of these are indicators that the situation in Europe is about to go towards a downwards spiral. Therefore, the Europeans now are much more concerned with their own security than the actual survival of Ukraine.
Right. With that, I would like to thank Mr. Mohammed Osman for joining us as an international relations expert from Cairo. Thank you very much. Now, we stay in the region. Belgian